we all get those negative thoughts, don't we, coming into our minds.
Yeah, and they can be hard to get rid of, especially when they're like on repeat, like some kind of this recurring thought that we think about it, and then we sort of analyze it, and then it comes back again, and we think about it again and again, and we think, what's going on?
And it like taunts us, doesn't it? It keeps coming back throughout the day, and
or night, which is
night, exactly,
horrible at night.
That's what we're going to be chatting about in today's episode of
Get Real with the English Sisters.
Mind, health and anxiety.
There's always a deep sigh before we do these podcasts, because we do have to talk about things that sometimes are quite difficult to handle in everyday life, you know. Well, and we all have them, don't we?
Yeah, and I think you said a good point about sighing, because sighing does actually relieve anxiety.
I know.
So it's a natural mechanism.
It is.
That we can use as an anxiety reducing
sort of technique.
Just sigh.
Just to have a good sigh about it. Yeah. It's like taking a deep breath in and just letting it out, isn't it?
Just letting go. If you close your eyes, not if you're driving, but if you close your eyes while you take a deep sigh as well, it can really, it like interrupts the negativity, interrupts that negative thought that's trundling into your brain.
Sometimes it's not just a negative thought, it's just a repetitive thought. I find with me, for example, like if I have to go and book an appointment or something, I might say, okay, I have to book an appointment. I might not book it right there and then because it's not the time, but then I just keep on thinking about it until I find I've done it. So I've had to learn a technique of sort of putting things that I have to do into places in my mind so that I can sort of calm my mind down and say, okay, I'll get to do that when I can. Sort of put it into little compartments, as to say, almost as if my mind was a room. There were like lots of rooms in my mind where I could just place that thought in that room and close the door and think, when I can, I'll open that door and I'll deal with that issue, whatever it is that I've got. Because it might even be a good thing, like booking a holiday, for example. But I might just keep on thinking about that all the time.
Because you want to book the holiday.
No, that was an example of, my mind sort of works like that with whatever it has to do. I know it's different to the way your mind thinks.
No, I think that's very accurate. I would be the same with if I have something to do, every now and again it'll pop into my brain, you have to book that appointment. You have to do, but I tend to procrastinate more, and I tend not to do it for ages,
forget about things
until if something is really urgent that I have to do, then I'll do it quickly.
Yes,
if it's like a regular checkup or something that I can't be bothered with, or even like a legal thing that's not that important, I'll tend to procrastinate and put it off.
But then you manage not to think about it again.
Well, I won't think about it in that day, and it might come up into 3 or 4 days afterwards thinking, I should have done that, or I should do that.
Yeah, so it's not like a repetitive thought, though. You can sort of put it away.
All day. But I think a good solution for anyone that's the same as Yutka or even me with procrastination is to write it down somewhere, either on your phone or physically write it on a piece of paper, and then if you actually can't do it there and then, make it like your to-do list for the day, and then just get it done. Get it done that day. So like you say, put it in my calendar. Lovely thing to do, like book a holiday. You can say, okay, tonight when I'm resting, and
for a holiday,
I can have a look.
It's something like I can sort of put off and say, okay, I'll do it at the weekend. I'll do it together with my husband. We'll look through them together. But I suppose, yeah, I do tend
I
to
think
do that. It's
the
more
fact
the
is,
repetitive.
I think that if you're very stressed at work or whatever, and you think I need to go away just to de-stress and have a nice time, say like with your husband or your partner.
Yeah.
But then it's like that
An
also
effort.
becomes an extra thing that you have
Yeah,
to do, which
yeah.
you don't want to do because it's time
That's
consuming and it's a bit like work. If
Well-
someone just said, if you had like someone that could just say, okay, I booked this holiday for you and you're
lovely.
leaving on
Yeah.
Friday thing.
That, to tell you the truth, that's why we jumped into your holidays this
exactly.
summer, because you did it all. Like in this summer, you found this beautiful house and I just jumped at the chance. You said, oh, there's an extra
We're
double
leaving.
room. Yeah, we're leaving like
Next
in
week.
4 days or something. And I said, oh, wow, that sounds amazing. Let me just see if my husband, Giorgio, likes the idea. He said, great. After he'd been like searching for holidays in his spare time, he said, oh, wow, that looks amazing. The view looks, let's just go. So, yeah, I do believe you're right. That is one of the things that when you are very busy.
Well, yeah, when you're really busy or really stressed out or anxious, you don't really feel like doing these extra things. They just become, and also I think because you probably feel a bit low as well. So like
Low in energy,
yeah,
perhaps,
and maybe low in mood. So like thinking of going away and packing and organising it all can just be a bit too much.
But as we always say, when
and
you do
want to
feel
crawl into bed maybe and just put the covers over your head and not look, you know, you don't want to see what the world
that's
is.
when you need to go though, isn't it? That's what we've always said. When we find it sort of uncomfortable to do something, that's when you really need to do it. Because it's ironic, but no matter how busy you think you are, it's like when you think you're too busy to go to gym. In the end, when you go to gym, you'll feel better, no matter how busy you actually are. Sometimes doing more is actually oddly better for you than doing less when you're stressed. And it's an odd thing, isn't it? Because you would think, no.
That's just, you've just hit it on the nail there. When you are feeling anxious or stressed or have negative thoughts, one of the best things you can do is exercise. But it's one of the things
last
that
things you want to do.
Yeah. I remember when I was really stressed out and the kids were young, mum and dad were sick.
Yeah.
A long time ago, my husband told me to go to join a gym and like a fitness centre, and I thought he was just off his rockers. I said, what?
You nearly bit his head off, didn't you?
I said, what? You think I've got time to go and do that when I'm so stressed out and I've got so much on my plate? And he said, I think it'll be good for you, Violetta. And so in the end, I listened to him. I started thinking about it and I listened and I did it. And it was one of the best things that I could have ever done for myself.
That's what I was thinking about. You know, sometimes ironically, the last thing you want to do is go and join a club or go on that painting course. You think, I haven't got time to go painting or pottery or whatever you may like, a book club or something. Start reading a book. You think, I haven't got time for that. I'm far too stressed. Well, actually taking on more is actually going to help you.
Well, yeah, it's taking on more of the right kind of things. So the kind of things that will de-stress you.
The kind of things that you think I don't have time for are those kind of things that now is the time to make time for. And that will actually help you when you do have these anxious thoughts that we all get. As I was saying, I get them, Violetta gets them, and we're therapists, so it's not like we're immune to them at all. All humans get them, and it's just a question of how you manage them and adding more to your life instead of taking things away, because the less you do of those kind of things that are good for you, the less you feel like doing and the less motivated you are. So if you think you don't have time to cook your favorite dish because you're too stressed and you just keep on ordering these takeaway pizzas or whatever, in the end, they make you feel worse than if you say, no, I'm going to go. And like me the other day, for example, I went and I bought a whole pumpkin. And I thought, when am I going to have the time to cut this pumpkin up and actually bake it and bother making, you know, whatever I want to make with it? But I did it, and it actually made me feel less stressed doing that, taking the time to actually cut the pumpkin, roast the pumpkin. Then I made these lovely gnocchi with the pumpkin. Then the next day I had pumpkin soup this delicious velouté, I don't know what it's called in,
Well, it brings you
creamy.
into the present, doesn't it, doing things like that? It's a mindful experience. It's a lot of work, but in the end, it's work that benefits you. For instance, the other day I was reading an article about ironing, and they were saying how beneficial ironing is for you. And I remember I used to spend hours ironing.
Do you remember? We used to call it ironing talk.
Yeah.
There was something odd there about
Iron talk.
Iron talk. When you would just chat away with somebody while you were ironing.
Well, really, it was just the iron talk. We called it when we were just mindlessly chattering.
Yeah.
When we weren't ironing.
Is that what it was?
Well, that's what we named it as.
Oh, are you sure? I remember ironing and chatting like when we were younger.
We didn't even have cell phones.
No, not on real life, talking. Not on cell phones. When we were younger, we would iron at home, like when we were like kids.
You weren't there, we would iron on our own.
No, I remember ironing. I remember Mum being sort of around pottering.
And you'd talk to her.
And you and Mum were like sewing and I'd be ironing, or she would be ironing more likely.
I don't know, I can't remember that. But anyway.
It was like the old times.
I used to call iron talk when it was just like not real talk, and it was just mindless chattering, which is just chit chat. But it was like very good for you because it meant that you were like in the present moment and relaxed.
What happens
and
when
you're talking like about like rubbishy things?
Do you know why? It's because your mind, your brain is focused on the action of doing something manual like ironing. So the other part of your mind can be more relaxed. It's not that's a reason for it, isn't it? While when you're like sewing or cooking or something that not like cooking if you have to read the recipe. No, it's like when you know how to do them just because you do them so often. They're just sort of like automatic. Then you can relax, sort of because your hands are busy.
Yes. But it's not too stressful.
No, it's something that you have an automatic competence at. It's something you're automatically good at.
That's why children love being around their parents when they're cooking. If you like cooking, and you're calm, and you're showing your kids how to make a cake or do something,
very much so.
It's like very therapeutic, isn't it? Because you're just all calm and you're all happy and cozy, and you're doing a little thing.
Exactly.
Put that in there, and it's like everything is almost as if time slows down. Because especially if you've got a little one, you have to be very patient with them.
Yes.
And show them, and they're just all learning and all fumbly, and they don't know how to do it properly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So I suppose it's the same as gardening. Any kind of those things that you can sort of relax at doing are good for these kinds of repetitive thoughts because they can keep your mind busy because you're actually in the action of doing, which is better than not doing in this case. So you're in the action of actually doing something. So your mind is busy doing, and then your hands are busy doing and then your mind can wander. I suppose some people say that's when the anxious thoughts can come in again, often.
When your mind is wandering?
Well, yeah, because I was just thinking, hey, I'm saying all of this, but yesterday I was actually cutting the grass. So I was actually really busy doing something. It was quite hard work. And yet my mind was wandering, so I had to tell it to stop. I had to say stop, that's like the time when literally you're going to put that thought in a room and keep it quiet for the moment. And then I'll come back to it when I can. Let me enjoy the rustling of the leaves. Let me see what I am experiencing now. And I'm telling you, it did take effort on my part. So you have to be sort of consciously aware of what's going on in there. So if we're using the metaphor of your mind is like a house, you have to go and check the room sometimes, and clear out and be consciously aware of what's going on in your house. Because if you're not, you'll become disturbed by it. You won't be able to actually be in that moment and notice what's going on around you.
Yeah, what I think is that so many of us are so, we're always on the go, we're always so busy, we're always doing, that when we do have, when we are doing something manual like that, it's when our brain has time to say, hey, can you listen to me? This is what you need to do, or this is who you need to call.
So you say when we're
So I think that's when you have to acknowledge these thoughts you're having, and maybe not see them as negative thoughts, but just see them as something that you have to do, or something that...
I did actually do it later on.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was good for me.
But if it is something really negative, like if you're just beating yourself up and about something or putting yourself down, one of the good tricks is like to give your brain a name, and you can just say, hey, whatever the name you've given it, that's fine, that's okay, but now I'm in my little mindful moment and I want to enjoy this, so thank you for letting me know about that, Susie or Brian or whatever. And then and then I'll come back to you later with that, but at the minute, I just want to have a nice time and do my gardening or running or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean. I know of many people that say that does work, that they do give their brain sort of a name, and they talk to it that way. And that's also good because you're becoming consciously aware of some of the thoughts that are going through your mind that you might not be aware of. And that's good too, because also in meditation, you don't have to block all thoughts out. You can just see them. And you can let them pass through. You can become aware of them.
Thank you for listening. Lots of love and smiles and laughs from the English sisters. Bye.